Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 12 and compare it against the iPhone XR and see which particular iPhone is a better one for you. Now, here's the thing I will basically tell you about these two particular phones. Probably, I can't think of any situation where the iPhone XR is a better iPhone than the iPhone 12. I think in almost every single way you can imagine, the iPhone 12 is basically the better phone here. It's not the best iPhone ever made, but it is a really good type of device that I would highly recommend people to go ahead and buy. And I personally do believe that is the better type of device to go and pick up rather than going through and buying something like an iPhone XR, especially as of this point, because the iPhone XR just kind of got discontinued with software support. So it just doesn't even really make that, it makes even less sense to go and buy that type of device, even more, if that makes sense. So we'll go and take a look at this whole entire video throughout, we'll look at both these phones throughout this whole entire video. But first things first, if you do want to go ahead and pick up either one of these types of devices, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular devices. The iPhone XR, which came out back in 2018, on the front side of these particular phones are essentially going to be giving you a 6.1 inch, Retina IPS panel on it. Now, it's not anything crazy. It's a pretty, essentially basic type of panel when it kind of comes down to it. And I would probably tell you for a lot of people going through and buying a device like this is probably going to be, very much average. You're not really going to be getting like anything super insane or super crazy inside of this type of device. And I do think that's kind of the easiest way to kind of think about it. This is one of those types of panels, which, is fairly outdated already. It's going to be giving you the notch up top. It's going to be giving you a fairly low, it's going to be a low resolution display. It's just not really going to be that type of phone that I would recommend really anybody to go ahead and buy in pretty much any capacity. I personally do feel like there are far better types of devices to go ahead and pick up from that particular standpoint as well. So I would say from the bare minimum from that particular situation, there are far better types of devices to go and buy. And that's personally just kind of how I see it when it kind of comes down to it. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there for the most part as well. With the iPhone 12, this is another one of those really interesting types of devices. The iPhone 12 came out back in 2020. So this type of phone is already kind of going to be giving you somewhat of like a better type of experience here. Within the 2 years these phones have came out, there was, some pretty big differences. With the iPhone 12, you're essentially getting a 6.1 inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. So this type of panel is already substantially better, I would say. It's an OLED display, which is so much nicer. And it's also it's a higher resolution panel as well. So this type of panel is going to be substantially better from that standpoint. It's going to look better. It's going to feel so much better as well. And if you are about to go through and pick up a type of device, this thing is definitely going to be giving you, I would say, a far better experience when it kind of comes down to it. So I would probably tell you, in my personal opinion, the iPhone 12, for it having a higher resolution display, a better looking display, just an overall better type of, capability all throughout. I do feel like that type of phone makes a lot more sense to go and buy. And that's personally just kind of how I see it. So from that standpoint in and of itself, I definitely do think a device like that is definitely going to be giving you probably the better type of device, situation for the most part. So from that side too, that kind of covers it up there. They're both giving you lightning ports at the bottom. They're both giving you glass backs, the curved side on the XR, flat side on the iPhone 12, dual camera setup on the back of the iPhone 12, so that's always something really nice to have. The iPhone XR is basically not giving us any type of capability like that, which I think is still okay for the most part, but you are getting a substantially better type of experience, I would say, from that type of device when it comes down to it. I personally love having these types of devices that are going to be giving us that type of capability, and I would probably tell you from that particular situation alone, you are definitely going to be getting a far better type of experience inside of something like the iPhone 12 overall from the exterior than the iPhone XR. So from that side as well, that kind of covers it up there for the most part. Now, on top of that, another very important thing to keep in mind here too is that between these types of phones, the cameras on the back sides are also something that's very interesting. The iPhone XR is basically giving you the single 12 megapixel camera, where the iPhone 12 is giving you this dual 12 megapixel sensor on the backside. So it's going to be a wide angle and an ultra wide camera. You're getting 4K at 60 on the back of both these particular phones. So having 4K at 60 is always something that's super nice to have. I love having it. On the front side though, there is kind of a little bit of a difference here. The iPhone XR is giving you 1080p at 60 frames per second, where the iPhone 12 is giving you 4K at 60. So that's another very big thing to keep in mind here as well. Like if you're about to go through and you're about to, use a particular device, I would definitely say something like the iPhone 12 for giving you that type of capability in and of itself, I do think is actually a very nice thing. And I am a massive fan of that type of device when it comes down to it. So it's not the best camera in the world. Like I don't want to get it like super twisted here, but I would definitely say the iPhone 12 is going to be the overall better type of camera than the iPhone XR. Now, when it comes down to software updates and just software experience in general, the iPhone 12 has a very good chance of lasting for quite some time. So we don't really know for a fact how much longer that phone is necessarily going to last, but the iPhone 12 is still supported with software, where the iPhone XR is no longer supported with software anymore. So that right there is a very big takeaway here, because you probably want to get a device that still is going to be supported with software. And unfortunately for us, with something like the iPhone XR, this thing is basically done getting software support. So that's kind of the situation that we're in. It is a very unfortunate type of situation as of this point, but that's just kind of what ends up happening here for the most part. If you're about to go through and like pick up some sort of a device, you're basically going to be getting a device inside of the iPhone XR that's basically done getting software support. So that right there is another one of those really, really big things to keep in mind there as well. Now, on top of that, another important thing to keep in mind here too is that with the iPhone 12, this device is going to be giving you a very solid type of experience when it essentially comes down to its capability in the performance sector. That phone is going to be giving you the Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it, and it's also going to be giving you 4 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone XR is giving you the Apple A12 Bionic chip inside of it, and that phone is essentially going to be giving you 3 gigabytes of RAM. So there is going to be a slight difference there as well, because you are going to be getting an overall better type of experience inside of something like the iPhone 12 in terms of performance than the iPhone XR. The iPhone XR is still probably, good enough for the most part. Like if you're about to go through and like pick up a device, I feel like that type of phone is going to be giving you like an okay type of experience. Like it's not going to be anything super crazy, but the 12 is still going to be giving you a better type of experience than the iPhone XR. So if you are about to go through and pick up a phone, that's personally kind of how I see it. I feel like both these devices are going to be giving you, good performance for old phones. But keep in mind that the iPhone XR is a older type of device when it comes down to it. So if you're not okay with buying and using an older type of device, then something like an iPhone 12, I would say, is probably going to be the better type of device when it comes down to it. So overall, I'm definitely a massive fan of the iPhone 12. I feel like that type of device is going to be a better type of phone overall than the iPhone XR. But when it comes down to it, I'm going to be honest, I don't really know if either one of these phones would be like the very first phones I'd recommend people to go ahead and buy. I feel like I would much rather, recommend people to buy something like an iPhone 13 Pro. I feel like those types of devices might be giving you an overall better type of experience than something like an iPhone, 12, even in this case. So from that situation, that's kind of how I see it. I feel like both these phones are still good though. You're getting like a pretty good type of experience, but there are somewhat better types of devices to go and buy rather than these ones. So from that particular situation, that kind of covers it up there for the most part. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.